Off you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night.
Morning.
Who knows what time it is in the land of YouTube. I'm here for the Reds Report, of course, with my sidekick, or I'm his sidekick, whichever way you want to put it. I'm his Robin to his Batman. It's that Dutchman, Carlo van der Watering.
How are we doing?
All right, you?
Yeah.
What are you drinking there?
I've got sugar-free Ribena, pineapple and passion fruit, because obviously when you're on passion fruit. And I've also started, which will finish, the Pepsi Max Cherry, sugar-free.
That's what that is. Me and you are always there, aren't we?
This is it, you see. This is it.
Carlo, I've got us a guest, another guest.
Oh, I love it when you've got us guests.
I'm doing well, aren't I?
You're doing all right.
Introduce him without any further ado, shall I? I've got some notes today as well. Can you believe I've got notes?
Oh, well, you introduce them and read your notes.
All right, we are joined on the Reds Report at this time by Mr. Antony Kay. Good afternoon, Anthony. All right.
Hello, good. How are you two?
Yeah, we're really good. Yeah, nice to have you, Carlo.
Even better now.
Good guess, Carlo. I've done well, haven't I?
Yeah, you, I can't beat this, can I? So just keep going.
We've just had Bogdanovic on, Anthony. Did you play with him? Did them timelines quite cross?
Was striker.
Yeah. Yes. Maltese,
I think towards, I think the championship season. Was it 2007 he signed?
Might have been a tad later, was it?
Chris knows these things.
I do know well, I've got them written down somewhere. I've got your stats up at a minute. That won't help me, will it?
No.
Let's have a look.
Played with that many players, I get confused.
Yeah, have you played with any good ones?
Just a few.
Right. I've got him. Yeah, I've got his debut for 2009. So that you'll have probably just missed him.
Oh, yeah, by a good while. Yeah, 2007 I left.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, shall we crack on?
I think you should.
It's nice to have you on, mate. It's good. You've been busy.
Well, I have recently, because I set my own soccer academy up just before the COVID virus came in. So just lately, the guidance rules now is you can start coaching, doing one-on-ones, individuals, and like groups of 5 now. So I've been quite busy the last few days with people wanting extra coaching and stuff like that, yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like to be busy. Carlo's busiest man in Barnsley, Antony. I don't know if you know. He's always...
I've heard that in a few interviews.
Every time he says that. I'm just doing my job, mate. Just because you've gone back today after 10 weeks, you know.
Long time off, 10 weeks.
I know it's been difficult. It's not been good. That dog of mine's looking really fit, Anthony. He's a Labrador. He's never known it so good. Anthony, we'll start at the beginning because that's where we always like to go at the beginning. Makes sense. Was it always football for you? Was it always going to be football? Was there another sport? Was there another career?
No. Just live and breathe football. I think from a young age, my mum told me I must have been about 6, 7 playing locally, yeah. And then I got picked up to play for Barnsley schoolboys when I was 9. I played a year above my age, so Johnny Parkin, I played for Johnny Parkin's age group at under 10s or 11s, I think it was. And then it just, obviously, Barnsley Football Club see you playing from then, and then it just followed on.
Was there any player that you thought that's who I want to be like. I mean, Bogdanovic was saying that Marco van Basten, not literally, but a poster of him was on his wall.
Don't say a Dutch. If you say a Dutch player, Antony, I'm just ending conversation now. Do not say a Dutch player.
He's probably thinking about that Dutch team, that Ajax team, who was unbelievable. And I think that team they conquered Europe, I think, that team.
Yes.
But for me, when I was younger, I used to be a striker. And my mum, being a Geordie, I used to love Newcastle. So it has to be people like Alan Shearer, Ash Spreer, team outside. I used to be a Newcastle fan as well as obviously going to watch my local town, Barnsley, when I was younger.
Of course. You mentioned joining schoolboys. We've had Colin Walker on the show. I'm assuming you were part of that journey for yourself, early days.
I think if you ask anybody who becomes a professional footballer, especially back in the days when I was a YTS scholar, the biggest influence on your career, or one of the biggest influence, is your youth coach, because they instilled a bit of, it's not strictness, but there's like a big, you need to be more disciplined back then and a bit more respectful, where nowadays I think academy players, they get it a little bit too easy, but that's not the coach, it's the rules now in general. It's like life in general, and everything's the same nowadays. But Colin Walker was a massive influence on me, and I think great coach, great person. But back then, you used to think, oh my God, so strict, unbelievable, but everything's for a reason. And
of course. And obviously, everybody mentions when they come on this show, Eric Winstanley. You're obviously part of that journey for yourself as well. We've not had a guest on Carl, I don't think, that's never mentioned him. He always gets mentioned at some point.
Yeah.
So Eric Winstanley, what do you think of the man himself?
For me, I think he was a main part as well that Barnsley got me in, because I'm from Darfield originally.
Okay.
And Eric lived in Darfield.
Right.
And back in them, I think my dad at the time used to drink with him in the local pub. I think the Darfield Longbow, if anybody can remember. And I must have been about 8-year-old at the time. So I've known Eric and his sons at the time for quite a long time. And when I made my debut, when I was 17 in 2000, he was the assistant manager. So everything like fell into place a little bit.
I know we'll probably go back, but you just said you made your debut. Being a local lad, does it feel like more pressure on you? I mean, we talked about Bogdanovic coming over from Bulgaria where he played and making his debut and wanting to give 100%. Do you feel extra pressure, do you think, because this is your hometown?
You can do, yeah. It depends. You get some, especially nowadays, you get a lot of young players who, that's probably when they're at the best, because they don't feel pressure. They just go enjoy playing football. And it's only when you get older and the money comes in and then other things, you start building pressure up. But I didn't really feel pressure at a young age. I think mainly what you think is, because you've got that many friends and family coming to watch the game, that's probably the only kind of pressure you have, really. But football, it's like a release for a lot of players where they just enjoy being on that pitch. It's worse watching.
Yeah, because you're not in control or anything at that point, are you?
No, that's
you can affect player when you're there. You can only control your own performance, can't you, I guess?
Yeah.
Anthony, no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I'm going to pull up your stats, that's all, your appearances and your goals and your debuts and stuff, and then we'll just talk about that. I'll pull them up for you now. Let's have a look. See if I've got it right. Does that look all right to you, Carlo?
I can read it, so that's good. Yeah.
But this is a courtesy of always of BFC Stats. Our friend Andy, who does a good job. Just looking at that then, Anthony, just short of 200 appearances for Barnsley, which is a very good innings. Are you proud of that?
Yeah, I'm very proud. I wish I could have got a lot more and stayed. I think I had one full season, 12 months, when Steve Parkin was the manager. I didn't play at all. When I was young, 17, 18, you're on the bench a lot, not getting appearances. So 200 appearances are good. I wish I'd have got more goals, but towards the end, I was playing centre half. Yeah, I can remember Chesterfield. Another stat about that, I scored my first goal and got sent off the same game.
Right. Oh, so that's the Chesterfield one, is 2003. Well,
it wasn't my fault. Neil Austin did Neil Austin reacted. I'd already been booked for a bad challenge, and then Neil Austin reacted, and I think I was in the melee of everything, and the ref just yellow carded me and sent me off. I was devastated. My first ever red card.
Yeah, I bet you were. Talk us through that goal then. Talk us through that first goal of yours against Chesterfield before the sending off.
Yeah.
Good goal.
A lot of times when you score a goal, it's a blur. Afterwards, it's just like a blur, and you don't realise what you've done until you watch it back.
Of course.
But I can remember, I think it was a corner, come in, and I pulled off, it bounced, and I just volleyed it in the net, and then just exploded with excitement.
What position were you playing then? Was that central midfield, defensive midfield kind of area?
I was playing central midfield then. At the younger start, I used to play attacking mid, because back then you didn't really have three in midfield where you'd have one holding, one bombing on. You used to have to be a midfielder. You used to have to defend and attack, up, down, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to play like to start with, yeah.
Yeah.
You look at the stats here, so your debut, your goal. Is there any match besides, obviously, probably the obvious one, which is the final?
We'll get
any league match that stands out for you? Maybe because of your performance, maybe a goal that you scored?
I think for me, the main one's obviously playing against Sheffield Wednesday as well. Because that's the big, I think for a Barnsley fan, that was mine anyway. My biggest game derby is Sheffield Wednesday for me.
Yeah. Of course.
Obviously, it's not for Sheffield Wednesday. They've got Sheffield United or games like that. But Sheffield Wednesday, I can remember scoring a good goal against Sheffield Wednesday. We drew 1-1 at Oakwell. But for me, they used to be the big games. And obviously playing when you played against them at Hillsborough, they get big fans, and the Barnsley fans used to travel in good numbers. I used to enjoy them games the most.
Yeah, the rough and tumble, bit more fight. Yeah, yeah. What was the reason for you dropping back to centre-back later on in your career? Was it just the players that were there, or was it your ability? Do you think you slowed down? Do you think you might become a bit more intelligent, maybe?
Probably everyone. I think I can remember when I was younger, because the game evolves where you don't just really have centre halves who just used to kick it and edit, but then you look at the game now, it's even evolved even more, where you look at types like Barcelona, where they've got Mascherano, who played in midfield, 5 foot nothing, playing centre half. So I think they were just looking at people who could defend as well as pass the ball. And I played there at a younger age as well. And I think it was Colin Walker and Mark Smith, who was a youth coach at the time. I played a couple of games there. And then I can't remember, just one game. I played centre half and done well. And then the rest is history. Glyn Hodges was the manager, actually, when we used to play three centre halves at the back. It used to be Neil Austin on the left, me on the right, and Big Chris Morgan in the middle.
That's unbelievable. That's a crazy back three, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even for you, because Chris is an aspiring footballer in the Sunday League around Wath at the moment, aren't you, Chris? I know you're going to mention it, so you want to ask the question now, how you can be better?
Oh, yeah, Antony. Yeah, I've scored 15 goals this season, Antony, for the Cross Keys. I reckon we've got 4 games, so I reckon I might have got to 20 this season.
What position?
I play just behind. I play number 10, so I play just behind number 9.
Everybody plays number 10 in the pocket. That's the third position now, and it's the laziest position.
It is lazy. I've got a lot of young. I'm 31 now, so I'm heading towards the end of my career. A lot of other lads do all running. And it really winds them up because they seem to do all hard work, but I always seem to be the one that arrives and just taps it in.
He's Watt's version of Johnny Parkin. That's what he is.
They hate it. They're like, oh, he scored again. Like, these are teammates. The teammates, like, he scored again. What's that about? If you were to give somebody a tip, maybe Sunday League, or maybe somebody starting the career, and obviously you yourself as a coach now, what kind of tips would you give them? What do you think would be up there?
I think this day and age, you just got to keep practicing and listening to people, listen to good coaches. Like now, everybody says that when you're older and your career's gone, it goes so quick. But I think if you've got people behind you, like your family, good coaches, who can drill that good knowledge into you and probably let you know that you can enjoy yourself later on. Don't go out drinking too much. Don't be doing out stupid things. Your attitude's got to be perfect on and off the pitch, because everybody's looking at you, your coaches, people above them. So in this day and age, you can't get away with anything. There's that much social media.
Of course.
Like back in the day, just say when I first started playing 2000, if there was all this, there'd be players getting sacked. It just been madness.
You talked about coaches there. I just want to take through, because I think we speak to a lot of ex-players, and they talk about Barnsley, about being either the best football of their life or, you know, the highest division they've ever played. I just want to really quickly, you make your professional debut for Barnsley, and then a couple of years later, you're player of the season, and obviously the League One playoff finals. You then go to Tranmere, and a year after, you become player of the year there as well. You go to Huddersfield, and you help them win promotion. And then you go to Milton Keynes, and you help them win promotion. I mean, that some footballers would love to have one promotion on their CV, and that will be their highlight. I mean, looking back on a career that you've had, you know, what's been the highlight for you? I know maybe, is it your hometown club? Is it the fact that, you know, three playoff wins and getting teams promoted? What's been the overall highlight for you?
There's been a few. Mainly, obviously, being a Barnsley lad and going up through the ranks, making my debut and getting promoted with your hometown club.
Of course.
And you can't. Not many people get promoted with the team they supported when you've got all your family, friends, hundreds of people you know who go to the games all the time. That's an unbelievable one as well. Huddersfield was good promotion. But for me, I think MK might be slightly higher just for the reason why I've got a good family now. I've got a wife, I've got 4 children. And I think when you've got family around you, because I think I was 33 at the time, 32 when we got promoted with MK to the Championship. I had all my kids there and they was on the pitch. So they celebrated with me. So for them to have their memories as well. Where at Barnsley, I was a lot younger. I just had my wife, a young child. I think my wife was pregnant with the second one, so she couldn't come and enjoy it. And you were a little bit more younger, stupid, just constantly celebrating for a long time. And you don't really suck it in really as you do when you get older.
Can I just ask as well?
All that celebration with your family, so that made it a little bit sweeter for you, didn't it?
Yeah, and just the memories for your children really, because my children, like I've got 4. My oldest girl's nearly 16. I've got a 14-year-old girl, 12-year-old boy, and an 8-year-old girl. So very busy.
Wow.
And you've played for obviously the teams we just mentioned. What about coaching? You mentioned how youth coaches are really important in shaping the person, shaping the player that they're going to be. What about in your senior career, though? Is there any piece of advice that you've taken from a coach or a manager who managed you at the time that you take into your sort of coaching
I've got a list, now? Carlo. Do you want a list?
If you want, go on.
This is a list of managers.
How long have we got?
This is a list of managers that manage you at Barnsley, which I think is incredible, really. Bassett, Spackman, Parkin, Hodges, Thordarson, Hart, Ritchie, and Davey have all managed you at Barnsley. So anyway, back to Carlo's question.
Ignore the last name on that list.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Is there one manager, if you had to choose one in your whole career, not just at Barnsley, in your whole football career, that you say, you know, the advice he gave me, that stuck with me, that made me or a better player, or that's something that I try and instill in some of the younger ones that I coach now?
It's different because, like, football's evolved, so has coaching and managing. Like, you look at the older coaches, the old managers, they didn't really do that much coaching. They used to get the first team coach to come in. They used to just stand and watch, which, if you listen to what Alex Ferguson used to do, he never used to get involved in training. He just used to watch.
Yeah.
But I think now you've got your coaches coming through, which are managers and coaches, and they like to get involved in everyone. So for me, really, I didn't start really wanting or thinking really about managing coaching till I was about 30. I went to MK Dons when I was 29. And then I think from then with Carl Robinson and the style of play, I'd never played in a team which had us passing the football like he did.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to thinking like, wow, do you know what I mean? And I enjoyed that so much. And that every manager has faults and positives, so you just got to pick up the best ones. So
you really enjoyed playing under Carl Robinson because he was an interesting character, wasn't he, at the time? And the way he played and the way his team... Were you playing centre-half for them then?
Yeah, I played centre-half all the time as well. And it's daft because he never played professional football in his career. So he played, I think, semi-pro a few times. And he got the manager's job at 29-year-old. So for him to do that. But it always helps when you've got the players. And we had such a good team. We were very lucky with the team we had there.
And whenever there was a vacancy at Barnsley, there's always a list, isn't there, of people, this person will succeed, so-and-so at Barnsley. But Robinson was often mentioned as well in the outside betting, wasn't it? There was always something about his way of managing and working a team that was seen as a suitable for us, although obviously it never happened.
Because you look at every owner who owns football, who owns a football club or a chairman, always wants probably their team to play the beautiful game, play football, and it helps them if the fans are on their side, so they're playing good football. And I think that's probably why he's so thought after. Yeah.
We mentioned you're playing centre-back later on in your career. If I were to play against you, then what kind of things would I need to do to cause you issues? What was the worst type of striker that you played against that you really didn't enjoy? Was it a tall lad, a quick lad, somebody who played in the pocket or played on your shoulder?
It's the ones who are just constantly busy, like running in behind, coming in. You look at like people like Jamie Vardy. He's the biggest nuisance ever because he doesn't stop running. And you make mistakes, he'll score and everything. And he's got a good spring. But your perfect strikers have all played in the Premier League. They've got everything. So when you play in League One Championship, there's always faults in certain people. And you've just got to try and pick them faults and better against them.
What if you had to choose? We'll do it like last time. If I was to ask you to set up a five-a-side team with the 5 best players that you've played with over your career, which players would you put into your 5-a-side team?
I need about 5 minutes to think about that.
If we just talk about the Barnsley one, then if it was just Barnsley only.
Barnsley
only, yeah.
Goalkeeper, I'd probably have to have Nick Colgan.
Good choice, yeah. Won you a penalty shootout when it mattered?
Unbelievable at shot stopping, unbelievable, great character, very strong. And I'd probably have to put Chris Morgan in, not for his passing ability. Compact 5-a-side. I've never seen anybody, because if you look at him off the pitch, he's not that tall. He's probably 6'1". He's not that big, and he never used to lose an header.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Strongest man I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Not the greatest passer, but had a great career, played Premier League, and a good person as well. Good.
Yeah.
5-a-side. I play 3 midfield, so I play 1-3-1. My striker, it's probably a bit surprising. I played Danny Nardiello up front.
Right. Okay.
2-footed, and probably the best side foot finisher, composure in 12-yard area I've seen.
Really? That's interesting. Is that out of all the strikers then that you've played where you think Nardiello is probably one of the most composed finishers?
Yeah, I think he was just unlucky with bad injuries. He had obviously a hamstring problem which troubled him most of his career, but apart from that, a great finisher, and especially in a 5-a-side team, if you give him a chance, he scores.
Nardiello was
a bit lazy. I'll call him. I speak to Nardi all the time, so he'll probably get on me. He's lazy, but an unbelievable finisher.
I think he always came over as a player. You've got some players, if you talk about Bogdanovic, he just blood, sweat and tears on the pitch. 100% every game was a cup final. We had intelligent players like Nardiello. They didn't make runs that they didn't need to, but if they had to be somewhere, that's where they were, and they punished the opposition. And he had that pedigree, didn't he?
Yeah, when you're playing centre-half, you've got to base yourself and not making mistakes. The higher you play, if you're in the Premier League, you make one mistake, the score's simple. But the lower you go, you can afford to make mistakes. But against Nardi, if you made a mistake and you were kind of round the goal, it just finished it with ease, yeah. Oh, you're putting me on the spot here. Centre midfielders. I can always remember a player when I first started playing. His name was Mitch Ward. Can you remember Mitch Ward?
Mitch Ward, yeah.
The name rings a bell.
Never gave the ball away. I think he played for Everton quite a lot of times in his early career. Yeah. Come to Barnsley later on, and in training, he never used to give the ball away.
Wow. He's one of them forgotten players, isn't he? Because central midfield for Barnsley, they've always been, I won't say the great players, but the ones you remember when you talk about the Hignets, the Howards, the Redferns.
Goal scorers, the goal scorer midfield. Yeah. The other midfielders kind of get lost in shuffle, don't they? And really, we've had some great players. Think about McPhail. You played with McPhail, didn't you?
McPhail, he was a similar where all left foot and he never gave the ball away. Yeah. And then he went on to Cardiff and had a great career. Yeah. But I think in midfield on the left, I put Brian Howard.
Of
Good
course.
friends with him, still speak to him. Yeah, I think the season we got promoted, I think Brian come in the season before and did well. But then we got promoted and he had a good season. But then when we went in the Championship, I think that's when he just stepped his game up and excelled his game. He scored that great goal against Cardiff on the opening day, and then I think from then he just carried on.
He just
got a couple of good moves to Sheffield United, what we'll not mention, and then went to Reading.
Well, kind of like yourself, he adapted his game. I mean, you obviously were central, and you went from defensive midfield, well, attacking midfield to central midfield, defensive, and all the way back to centre back. He obviously he were a left back, wasn't he, for a while, and then a left side of midfield, and then he moved central. And I guess good players can adapt and overcome, can't they? And if they've got it there,
certain players just excel at certain clubs. You can be a good player, go to a club and it don't just really fit you. Then you go to another one and then you might just excel.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side.
I'll put a bit of a photograph on for you, Antony. We've been avoiding it so far. We've not talked about the playoff final just yet.
Sure.
We thought we'd talk about the other things first, but I'll get it up. Let's have a look. Here we go. That's the celebration they've just started there.
Okay, just move it up a bit, Chris, because I can only see half of it.
I'm on it. Gives a minute, Carlo. There we go. I mean, what's happening there? We talked to Rory Fallon about the final. He said that our legs are gone. Barnsley FC's legs are gone, and that we were hanging in there with cramp and injuries. What's happening there, Antony? Is that champagne, or is that an hamstring, or what?
Yeah. From that moment on, for 2 weeks, everything's a blur.
So it's not an hamstring injury then. It's not a pulled groin or anything.
No, I think we're just Robbie Williams then and Reedy. But I think if you look at the hair, because Mark Richards, Rico, on our street, because we used to live in Montbreton, and on our street, there were me, Mark Richards next door, Brian Howard 4 houses up, Paul Leckingbottom 2 houses across, and then Paul Reed might as well have lived on the street as well. So that is probably, if you asked everybody, that was probably the closest group of lads that you can have in a football team, and the majority of them I still speak to well.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, them relationships you've never lost then. They were built on solid foundations, and obviously that had a massive effect on that team, because that desire to win that day were unbelievable. I mean, Swansea just missed out on promotion. They were third, I think, and they just missed out. And I mean, that last 20 minutes, especially in extra time, it looked like we'd gone, but for some reason we found that extra bit of energy. And I guess do you think that is accountable for that?
100%. I've watched the game a couple of times. I didn't watch it for ages, and I just watched it, and then I realised, especially after that, Swansea were the better team. Swansea had chances, and they should have scored, to be fair. They should have scored. But
I didn't want to say that, but they were.
I'll say it for you.
Rory Fallon did say though, didn't he? When it got to penalties, he says, "I knew Barnsley would win." He says he knew once it got to penalties.
I felt the same. When you're a dominant team playing, and then that moment goes, and you think, "Oh no!" The chances they miss, they naturally are down. And we were thinking, "Wow, we've got away with this now. We've got a chance."
What a day that was.
That team is just
Rory's goal, great goal, wasn't it? Bicycle kick.
Yeah. We spoke to him about it as well. And I mean, I was quite a young man back then. I know Carlo was still old then, but I was young back. It really upset me, Antony. Like, it really broke my heart as a young man. And I finally forgave him on the podcast, but for years I hated him. He did the guitar celebration, didn't he, as well? And I mean, you obviously play with him at youth level. That must have been a kick in teeth for yourself.
It is, because I was marking him as well.
but you know what, Chris? It goes two ways, because I can remember games going as an away supporter to watch Barnsley when we came up, and I think MK Dunce was one of them, when we played, and Antony was playing for the opposite team, and people saying, "Why did we ever let him go? Look at him, he's having a right match. Why did we ever let him go?" And I think that's the sign that, like I said before, some players at the best period of their career for Barnsley, and then although they might have been playing, they've gone lower leagues or whatever, but actually for Antony, you stayed at that level, you help teams get promoted. And I know every time when you walk as an away supporter into a stadium and the team news are now saying Antony Kay, because we know we were in for it. So yeah.
we talked about your managers earlier, and obviously we touched on one at the end. You mentioned not mentioning. When your time come to an end at Barnsley, what was that accounted to? What was your time just up? Were you ready for a new? Was it your decision or
no? Not mine. It was
no.
It's kind of a bit of a long story where because Simon Davey was the youth coach before he got the manager's job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they were like, back then you used to go out a lot more and have a drink, didn't you?
Yeah.
As you do.
Culture's
That's
changed,
Sparky.
Yeah. He hadn't stopped. But he used to join in his conversations and everything. And then as soon as he got the manager's job, he just turned into something he wasn't really.
Yeah.
And just got everybody's back up. And you know now that to be a good manager, you have to be an unbelievable man managing. You have to manage people different. You have to be good at speaking to them, getting the best out of them. And it's just not a nice person. He used to do things, and there come a point I did something wrong, which I shouldn't have done, and then he just outed me and scapegoated and everything. And it just shows you the person he is. Where I was going to some football clubs to sign, he obviously heard, and he'd ring them up personally and start bad mouthing me, which you shouldn't do that.
No, not when it's not. It's your career, it's your life, but it's your
100%.
big earner. It's your family that you're supporting.
That's how I saw it. And
when I give you that list of managers, then who did you enjoy working with? You mentioned was it Hodges and Parkin? You said you enjoyed the most. Was there anybody else? Richie, obviously, you were very successful under Richie. What was he like as a person?
Andy Ritchie. I think Andy and Richie and Rick Holden, the assistant manager, they just worked well. They were close friends, and they probably gave us a lot more freedom than other managers, and that's why that group were just nuts. We used to do things we shouldn't. We used to go out quite. If one person went out, about 10 of us would go out. Do you know what I mean? And it was a close knit group, and Andy, he got the reins in a little bit, told us off. Rick were brilliant as well, and it was just that season was just good. Everything just fitted in well.
Yeah, it was a beautiful season. I enjoyed it very much. Carlo?
I just wanted to ask, what was that Norwegian bloke like with his wellies on? Because I've always wondered, because as a fan, when he was appointed, that was the biggest letdown ever in my life. And I was a fan.
The Icelandic Good Johnson?
Oh, yeah, the Icelandic. Sorry, I called him Norwegian. They're all same Scandinavian on that. What was he like?
I liked him a lot, mate. I liked him a lot. We got on well. It's like, you can speak to some people, some players, and they think, I don't like that manager. I never liked him. Or somebody will tell you, they liked him. If you play for a manager and he picks you every single week, you're going to like him.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're going to like it. So it's if you play. I got on with him very well. I used to play centre midfield up and down, but he's a contrast to football. He didn't used to really want to play football. He just used to want a big physical lads and to dominate teams. But he was an absolute lunatic. He used to throw pots of tea at you. He's an absolute.
He used to throw what? Boxes of tea?
We were playing Swindon away, and Alex Neil, manager Preston now, sat beside me, and Good John Thordarson picked up the pot of tea, poof, threw it at him, just smashed all over the wall.
Flying pot of tea.
He's a recovering alcoholic. So all of a sudden he'd just snap, and his face, people just like, oh no. But
here it goes.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable character. Hard as nails.
You must have come across some great characters in your time, your storied career. Like there must be some brilliant stories. We probably could have you on here for the next 3 hours. And I
want to say I've got my 5-minute warning, Chris. So you need to go to Rumble.
Yeah, I've got 6-minute warning, but we're getting there. We'll just talk a bit more about that penalty shootout. You're still on the halfway line. What are you thinking when they're stepping up, the lads? Did you have in your mind who would score, who would miss?
Do you know what? I've never ever took a penalty before in a game before then. We had Brian Howard had been subbed. He'd have took a penalty.
Yeah.
Matt Richards had been subbed. He'd have took a penalty. And we just got in a huddle. And I think it was Rick Holden who wanted to take a penalty. And in that situation, you have people who you think, strikers, who you think, he's going to take one.
Yeah.
Some people are scared. They don't fancy it. I just put my hand up straight away and just said, yeah. And I was number 4. Chris Schuker was unfortunate. He didn't play in that final. He played in every game, apart from the semi-final final. He'd come on. What a confident player. Paul Eckingbottom took one. Mr. Calm and Collective. Paul
penalty.
Hayes, Calm and Collective.
And these penalties were brilliant, wasn't it?
And
Paul Hayes.
Matt Fail wasn't going to miss, and he was number 5.
Yeah. Talk us through your penalty then.
It was kind of a lot easier for me. There's not much pressure because Nick had saved one. They'd missed 2.
Yeah.
So I was thinking in my head, if I score this, McPhail needs to score to win. We've won it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that nervous. I had a bit of dry mouth, which I expected with just 120 minutes of pure, with a roof on in that stadium as well.
Of course. Humid, quite humid.
So hot, yeah. And I just felt confident. And then I just slotted it in.
Quite a long walk. Was it quite a long walk there? I mean, I'm assuming the walk back was a little bit shorter.
I never ever walked for a penalty, but that was my first penalty. But I just jog. I have a little jog, and it's all about composing yourself and relaxing. I'm a kind of composed character, so a little bit. But as soon as I scored, I knew we'd won. So I thought McPhail's not going to miss.
Yeah, of course.
But then obviously Nick saved it. Well done.
That way, job done, and the elation begin. How long did the celebrations go on for, Anthony? Have they just finished yesterday?
I'll tell you a quick story now. Is my wife was due to give birth. Was that a game on the Saturday? Yeah, it was on the Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Saturday or Bank Holiday Monday? Can't remember.
It was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday because I went to the East Coast straight afterwards. I remember. Yeah.
Was that the 28th? Is it the 28th or 29th?
Oh, goodness. You're asking me, Anthony.
Well, what happened we played on the Saturday one. We come back. I've been out all day with all the lads, all morning. Got back in at 7:30 in the...
Is that in Cardiff? Was that in Cardiff, or did you travel back?
In Barnsley. We come back to Barnsley and celebrate,
okay.
Yeah. So all night, all morning. I come back in the house about 5:30 in the morning. The missus went in labour. She gave birth to my second child about 3 hours later. I was still drunk. I couldn't stand up. They had to ring her mum. And then soon as Libby was born, I can remember opening champagne for the midwives, rang everybody, and then I went straight back out for about another 2 days.
Has she forgiven you yet?
Kind of, yeah.
Were you not worried? Were you not worried about not being able to play? Because surely that's in your mind. Or were you always going to play?
She knows. She's brilliant, my wife, at stuff like that. She knows that I'd have played football. Yeah. 100%.
Of course. Go on.
Go on, Chris.
We haven't really got much time left. No, you wrap it up.
2 minutes. It's too long. We'll do that one next time, so you'll have to wrap it up. Sorry.
Yeah, you'll have to come back on again, Anthony. That's fine.
Anytime, just drop me a text. Enjoyed it.
Of course. Thank you very much for joining us, Carlo. Is there anything you want to say to Anthony before?
No, I just, and I've always said this. People talk about teams from the past, and they talk about a promotion-winning team. They talk about striker scoring goals. I think. And I've said it to you before, Chris, and I've said it on the radio when we used to have a radio show when we could go in the studio. I think Barnsley, there is a catalogue of players that, to me, have always been very underrated. But it's those players that make that form the heartbeat of the team. And I think any player that can get 3 promotions to the Championship, that gets chosen as Player of the Season at 2 or 3 different clubs, you've got the ultimate professional on you, and a very nice guy, plus a hometown lads to go with. So it's been a real honour today for me.
Yeah. Appreciate it, fellas.
Anthony, from me, I guess, real pleasure. Absolute hero of mine when I was a child. So it's a bit of a culture shock.
You must model your game on me with all these goals then.
That's it, man. That's it. I need some penalty practice in your back garden at some point. So whenever you're ready, I'll come for a jog and we'll...
Just book some time with him. He's got a coaching business now.
Yeah, your coaching, we'll give that a plug on social media. I'm assuming that's down in Milton Keynes, is it?
No, I live near Liverpool, right in middle of Widnes and Warrington, Cronton. I've lived here for a good 12 years now, on the same state as Chris Shuker. But
we'll have to get him on the show as well at some point. So yeah, pretty much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. You are a very busy man, no doubt. And yeah, absolute hero to not just myself, not just Carlo, but many regs. We really appreciate it, mate. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
See you later, buddy.